Hello everyone, this is Mr. Nightmare here, and I'm going to be reading the first ever Bloody Painter love story. It's called A Crimson Grin. It's requested by one of our friends out there since I have never done a Bloody Painter love story yet. Before we get started, I want you guys to leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that like button if you guys like this channel. And also don't forget to check the author's link down below in the description for you guys to read the stories if you guys want to hit a head start. Until then, let's get started. I stared down at the gorgeous drawing contest as I retraced the outline of the mesh skull. I was unaware of my element, the small composure of the classroom that was filling it dim with shabby rules, invasions, that of course including the teacher as well. My headphones were firmly placed in my ear, blocking out her noisy voice completely. In the drawing was almost finished. The only thing left was the shading and the details. That, of course, was the fun part. I began to sketch tiny black spiders and feeling from the skull's eyes sockets, along with the small fractures throughout the drawing. Suddenly, my headphones were angrily yanked from my earlobes, with the dull ringing slightly sitting behind me and left behind. My dark eyes fluttered open to the teacher with an expression exploding, pulling across my face. I was not in the mood for this today. The older woman's eyes were like daggers as she something looked down at me, her eager face filled with disgust. I couldn't help but grin slightly as the woman, knowing as much as I infuriated her. Josie, pay attention! Her high-pitched voice normally squeaked and squealed. I rolled my eyes, wishing more than that. Anything I could have done to hear that voice again. I simply nodded as my response, not waiting to continue this conversation with this woman any longer. She huffed and stepped back over to her desk. She grimly with her bobbing, as she said. Shit. I sighed, putting one of my headphones back in my ear. I looked back down at my drawing, preferred to start it once more. That's when the paper was snatched instantly from off my desk, and the bone of my knuckles popping once I was clenching my fist. My head sprang over to the culprit. Of course, it was the little gang of prips that was snitching around the school, and of course, referring just like them. I was the victim of their abuse, well, some of the times. Usually they are too terrified to approach, and I like it that way. But perhaps it wasn't going to be like that today. We were friends looking disgraced of each other's faces as they looked at my drawing. A sarcastic smirk crossed my lips. Freak, one of them muttered, twirling around in their suites, avoiding my gaze. Psycho, Jenny, the tiny blonde girl, spat, her fake eyelashes covering most of her eyes as she tried not to narrow them at me. I tried to mutter by laughing, tried not to cause any more commotion. Instead, I reached for my drawing, I grabbed it by the corner of it and tugged on it lightly. The jerk Bradley, who was holding it, smirked and showing he had no intentions of letting go. Fabulous. It was going to be one of those days, after all. I don't have time for your bullshit, I growled, pulling harsher than before. Very true. The bell rang, I guess. I can't have too much fun, he snickered, ripping the paper back, causing it to rip in half. My eyes widened slightly as the peers laughed in their amusement off. I was scrambling in one of the corners of the sheet of the paper. He was crumbling it up in the other. No good bastard. At least it was around the time to leave. As cue, the bell rang, causing everyone to jump out of their seats. Later, loser, the jock snickered and turned away. Oh, you can keep this up. Keep this. He tossed it and rolled a ball that used to be my drawing at me. No good prick, I spat under my breath, standing beside my desk. I put the other headphone in my ear, allowing the familiar scream of my band to smooth the anger away. It always has. I shoved my phone into my pocket. I put my book and my sketch pad into my bag and approached the exit from the room, disgusted and completed, ruin of the drawing into the trash then. I kept to the side of the hallway as everyone harshly spun around me, trying to leave as soon as they possibly could. I couldn't blame them. They were probably had lost a lot of things to do. I, however, had nothing to do but draw. Being friendless at school was both good and bad. Good, because I don't have to suffer enough conversations and guilt and spark things with other girls. Or the conversation about football or pervert shit from other guys. But however, because I was surprised and rebellious because I'm different. My dyed red hair made it different, longer with black brunettes with that hat black. 15 piercings in my ears, and one on my lip, and one on my nose. It makes me different. The dark clothes and brand tees made me different. Dozen bracelets on my arms, which made me different. But frankly, I didn't give a damn. I liked how I looked. And I knew there was others like me, but at this school I was actually the only one. But not the only one that was alone, by all means. But I was the only dark person, for sure. I walked along the sidewalk, making my way home. It was redly cold and appeared as though it was going to rain. The sky was turning dark gray, and the clouds continued to grow lower. Good thing I didn't live very far away. It began to drizzle as I entered the home, letting out a sigh in relief. I swung my bag to the ground and a loud thump echoed through the room. No one's home, as usual. Mom working. Dad's probably getting drunk again. That's no shocker at all. I walked to my room, sitting down behind me, my music still playing. A fitting company in this quiet, velvet house. Now, this time, for sure, my real art. I slipped across the room, smiling. I glanced at my paintings, supplies. Half my room looked like an art studio. Canvases laying on the walls, sketchbooks, markers, charcoal, pencils, and other materials littered around. The other half was a simple bed and a dresser, and some posters laying on the walls. I sat down, sitting by my window, setting up a new canvas, adding some adjustments to the different paints and on the palette for me to use. I picked up a paintbrush and began to add colors. With the blank canvas, it was the same thing I had started in class, and instead of finishing it in this time, I started on the skull once more. Then personated with all different details before. Hours passed as I continued using drawing formed into the canvas, only colors considered in black and white and gray and red. Sharks debated on the skulls, along with the spiders that were once again sketching down, blood dripping from down different parts, adding small bit of brighter colors into the painting. My eyes were drooping as I yawned. The rain's suddenly heavy outside, and the sound of it being the only thing that I can hear. I pull out my headphones out of my ears. I gazed at the window, seeing my dark yard and the trees swaying in the wind, and only light being offered was the street lamp a good distance away. My eyes were full upon the figures standing next to the road, a street lamp offering some light in the full to fill upon their figures. It was a boy, I guess. He was wearing a dark jacket. There was a little light reflecting off it. It appears it was a dark blue. His pants were black, along with his shoes, his hair, and with a torn of shaggy black. That was most likely present things. And I noticed that he was wearing a mask that had covered his face. The eyes were black. A long red smile was sketched against the white mask of his mask. My eyes widened slightly as the figure. My heart was pounding in my chest. The figure was standing there, his hand shoved into his pockets. Without another thought, I ran out of my room into the living room. I creeped into the window, hesitantly peeking out from the blinds. My heart dropped when I saw the figure was gone. I gulped, backing away. That was freaking creepy at all. I'm going back to my room. I closed the drapes and so that creeper didn't see into my room. As I tried to get some sleep, I walked back to the room and over to the window. I reached over the edge, unhooking the black drapes so it will have swung over the window. But I couldn't help but notice something before I did. The window. There was fog up at the corner. And in the middle of the fog, up a smiling face that was drawn up like the masked figure.